Oh, thank you.
Welcome to the most entertaining, engaging, and charismatic podcast. I am the most charismatic man in entertainment, the Prince of Fresh Air. I hope everybody's having a great Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. I have a couple things I want to talk about, especially my great weekend. Um, but before I get into that, Tom Holland, don't worry. I did see email this weekend. My agent manager will reach back out. We're going to talk. Tom Cruise. I did see that follow up message you sent me. I know you want me a part of Mission Impossible. We'll talk about that. We'll discuss that, when I'm done with the podcast. And I also know Zoe Saldana, who many people know as Gamora from Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. I know you want to come on a podcast. I know you do. So we're going to get you on. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you, yes, you. I know you're the most electrifying man in entertainment. Well, I am the most charismatic man in entertainment. So I need you on this podcast immediately. We got some things to talk about. I got a bone to pick with you in a great way, in a fun way. I'm just kidding, but whether you're drinking coffee, you're drinking a Red Bull, you're sitting at home in traffic. Well, you probably won't be sitting at home in traffic, but whether you're sitting in traffic, you're sitting at home, you're on your way to school, you're on your way to work, whatever you're doing, put in your headphones, turn up the volume, do whatever you're doing, enjoy, sit back and enjoy this episode. It's gonna be fun. I'm trying to make this podcast a lot more fun and hilarious. A lot of people think I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm not a stand-up comedian. I like to sit down. So I'm a sit-down comedian. But I will make an admission to make this podcast a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable. Especially for people sitting in their car stuck in traffic. I know how it is. You're on the road with a bunch of morons and other people, acting like a fool. And you want somebody to make you laugh, take the edge off a little bit. So that's what I'm here for. But before I get into the episode, I do want to address something. So I went a little viral on Friday. I got my two moments of prime time. A lot of people like me, but I went a little viral because, I was talking to a content creator and I commented on one of his posts. So there's a guy on Instagram who creates content with his children. He's an older gentleman, older than me, and he did a video of him having fun with his daughter, teenage daughter. She works at McDonald's, and the video was he went into the job, he surprised her, and he ordered food, and he was having fun, correcting her. Oh, you got my order wrong. A good feels good, Instagram story, father and daughter, right? But the people commented, some people have the nerve to ridicule and clown and make fun of his daughter and him because she was working at McDonald's. And look, I took a little offense to that, right? Because we all got to start from somewhere. Our favorite actors, some of your favorite actors, comedians, athletes, all work day jobs. Denzel Washington was a garbage man for New York City. Yes, he was picking up garbage when he graduated Fordham University and before he got his big break. The guy who played Demetrius Shipp Jr., who played Tupac in All Eyes on Me, he worked at Target. Many other actors and celebrities worked McDonald's. I think Mark Wahlberg was actually working for a fast food chain at one point. Everybody got started from somewhere. And anybody who ridicules other people because of their line of work or the way how they make an honest living, shame on you. We should not be ridiculing people just because you feel you're above that. And especially if you're trying to pursue a career in the entertainment industry or you're trying to create, go a creative aspect of a career, you're gonna work jobs that you may not like. McDonald's could be included in that. And I had my fair share. I've been active for 13 years. I've had my fair share of minimum wage jobs. I've worked at fast food. I worked at casual dining. I've worked private corporate events. I've worked, private, high end entertainment award shows, the Emmys, the Oscars. I got to meet celebrities. I worked at gyms. I did food delivery. I did it all. I had my fair share too. So anybody who looks down and clown other people just because you feel that you have a better job or you think it's low paying and you're above it. Let's not do that. We all start from somewhere. Some of your favorite actors and people you look up to worked at McDonald's before and look where they are now. So, everybody's always trying to make a way to make an honest living. Everybody's trying to just do what they can to survive, whether it's to pay rent, have a little fun, go out with your friends, and enjoy life. We're all going to work jobs we may not want at some point. So, anybody who makes it a mission to troll and make fun of other people just because you don't like their way of honest living, well, shame on you. I'm here to dispel that. Shame on you. But I also got to talk about something. I went to Olive Garden on Saturday. First time, I know, I can't believe it either. I can't believe it. But the server, she ridiculed me. I'm gonna get her back. Don't worry, I'm gonna get her back. But I went to Olive Garden Times Square with my girlfriend, and it was my first time. And I gotta give you a little secret. I don't know if you ever been to Olive Garden, or if you haven't. Let me give you a little secret. The Percy, the most charismatic man secret, right? So the breadsticks. Now I put about 8 breadsticks away easily, right? But and I also got the chicken Alfredo. I gotta say, it was the chicken Alfredo. I think it was fried chicken on top. It was amazing. I'm telling you, 8 out of 10 bomb. We'll check that out again. But here's a little secret, right? When you get the breadsticks, you know, a lot of people, depending on your taste, your dipping sauce, I gotta tell you, the spicy ranch with the breadsticks, I'm telling you, will change your life. I was demolishing these breadsticks like a homeless man. I'm not trying to make fun of homeless people, but I was destroying them suckers. So here's a little secret: when you go to Olive Garden, whether it's your first time or you're returning, get the spicy ranch. I'm telling you, give me a little credit when you try it. Just hit me up and let me know how you like it. That's just a little inside secret. So now I do want to give a little shout out to that, but nonetheless, the topic this week, the episode this week. I got a lot of great topics. This morning, I woke up feeling good, breath stinking, but I brushed my teeth before I turned on the mic, so don't worry. But I was on a live show this morning. Kyle Yates, who was on the podcast before, feeling the vibes. Go check that out. Great guest. I was on a live stream with him and one of his partners, and great time. And as someone who's been active for 13 years, I don't really get to share my journey as much. So I got to talk about my acting journey, some tips and tricks, some other things about the industry, some insider information too, to help you if you're trying to become an actor or you've thought about becoming an actor. Some things and advice that I can give to you, because I have people in the industry. Odysseus, who's been a guest on the podcast before, he's given me a lot of wisdom. He's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, so I'm always learning myself. Uh, you know, be prepared and always be willing to learn something new. That's how I go about my day. But they're going to be on the podcast for the next few weeks. I got a lot of great episodes, a lot of great topics coming, and I aim to make this podcast a lot more fun, a lot more relaxed, a lot of chill back. Because I envision myself, if I'm stuck in traffic and I got a headache and I just want to get home and I want to turn up something, I want to turn on the Prince of Fresh Air podcast, which I know you do, by the way. I want to be entertained, and I want to entertain you. I want you to enjoy this experience along with me. So going forward, like I said, if I'm driving down the highway, I want to hear about murder. I want to hear about all of this political stuff. So my mission going forward is to have more fun episodes. Whether it's nerdy, whether it's talking about, superhero movies or whatever the case may be, I want to make people laugh and cry and feel a part of the conversation. So going forward, that's the direction going in. We're going to have some fun. We're going to mix it up a little bit because you don't want to get predictable. I don't want people trying to follow me. I'm the most charismatic man. I can't have that. Oh, speaking of which, Taylor Swift called me. I didn't tell nobody this, but Taylor Swift called me. I think she wants me to be her boyfriend because she's single now. But I don't know. I got a girlfriend. We'll see. But Taylor Swift, don't worry. I did. I saw you looking at me though. I saw you. I'm just kidding. But before we get to the episode, like I said, I hope everybody's enjoying their time, enjoying their Monday. And share this podcast with everybody. Share it with your inner circle. Share it with your family, your friends, your husband, your wife, your best friend, your girlfriend, your daughter, everybody. Share it with everybody because I want everybody to have this experience with the most charismatic man, and with you as well too. I want to have fun with this, and I want you to have fun. When you're at home or on the highway or doing whatever, I want to make this an enjoyable experience. So, without further ado, I've been talking a lot. I know people want me to shut up. Let's get into the episode, right? Like, hey, bro, come on, let's go. So, without further ado, let's get into the episode. In three, two. Oh, by the way, before I say one, uh, I gotta say this. Chris Hemsworth. Um, I know you respect the store, but I'm the new superhero in town. I'm coming for you. Your time is up. It's my time now. Like John Cena. I know it's cheesy, but your time is up. My time is now. I'm coming for you, boy. But I'm just kidding. But let's get into the episode. In three, two. Oh, before I say one again, I know you're probably looking at me like this jackass. I know. But I just gotta say this one thing. Third week will be coming out soon. I can't wait to share that. That was a film I've mentioned it briefly on the podcast before, but it will be coming out this year. It's a great film that I did last April. Got to shoot it in Staten Island, New York, and it's going to be a great film. I can't wait for people to check that out. So you know, keep your notifications on. Keep aware because I will be announcing news about that soon. But without further ado, let me shut up. Finally, let's get into the episode. I know, three, two. I ain't say one yet. I ain't say one yet. One. Started off the morning straight, had a great interview, live show on another podcast, talked about acting, my journey, some advice I give other actors and stuff like that. So that'll be out soon. More information to come with that too. Looking forward to some other episodes. Got some cool guests coming on in the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna have a good time on this. And before we get to the episode, I did want to touch on something that's going to lead into the main conversation. I saw something this morning after I finished. I got off the live stream and I called you to talk about the this week's episode, and I saw something about Chester Bennington. So I'm not familiar with him, but he was Linkin Park's lead singer, and he also was in a couple other bands. And apparently, people was acknowledging mental health today, and apparently a photo of his wife uploaded recently of the day before he committed suicide went viral, and people was chiming in, and I just want to talk about. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I did want to address something real quick. So I saw a comment or two comments about how selfish he was, how he took the coward way out. And before we get to this episode, because this does tie into some aspects to it, I do want to say I think a lot of people uh take treat mental health as a joke. They laugh, they don't understand. I don't understand. Never been depressed, had thoughts of suicide. But if you do, please seek mental help. This therapist, there's people out there who's there to help you, get you, guide you through the dark moments you're having. And anybody who don't understand it, I encourage you to educate yourself on it. People oftentimes judge other people based off how they perceive them, or they have no knowledge of some of somebody and they just judge them just because. You don't know what somebody's going through. Everybody has bad days. Some of the most depressed people, Robin Williams and Twitch and all these people, were smiling every day, but they was probably having dark thoughts, and the only way to cope with the pain was to take their own life. So anybody who makes fun of mental health and all that stuff, I just encourage you to educate yourself. But nonetheless, let's get into this episode, because this topic, in a sense, ties into our next subject, right? So, like I said, everybody put down your beard. If you're driving in traffic, turn up the volume, put in your headphones. We're going to have a good conversation. So, TikTok. Me and Dimitri, we've talked about social media plenty of times on this podcast, on mine, on his. And, the TikTok is the latest form of social media sensation. Everybody's on there. Everybody's trying to build a platform and go viral. But something recently happened. TikToker, Mizzy, aka Bacardi Bronze. I wasn't familiar with him. I saw him on the Piers Morgan interview, and he subsequently he did a couple other interviews following up because of his behavior. So, I'm a big fan of prank videos. I think we all like comedy videos. We watch reels on Instagram and Facebook, and people watch TikTok, and we know people like to push the boundaries on pranks. Jumping off of airplanes and all this stuff. But we're living in a different phenomenon right now. We're living in an era now where people are going crazy with these pranks, doing outrageous stunts. I heard recently there was a TikToker who's in prison right now, actually in the UK, because he decided he wanted to up the ante on his viral moment. So he rented a helicopter and then jumped out of it and let it crash into the mountainside for views. I mean, this is what people are doing nowadays. But Mizzy went viral because he started this trend on TikTok where you run into people's homes. So what he would do is he will be walking down the street. He'll see somebody's door open, and he'll run in their house. Now, one video that went viral was there was a lady at home with her two children. Husband, I believe, was home, but he was busy upstairs doing something. And he ran into the house. And the husband threatened to shoot him because he's running into people's houses. He thinks it's funny. He's jumping over random strangers. There was a Jewish guy walking in the street with his Jewish garments, and he decided to jump over him. And he also there was an elderly woman at a park with her dog, and he walked up to the elderly lady, snatched the dog, and ran off. Now I'm sure he returned the dog at some point, but that's the premise of what he's doing. So now he went viral because a lot of people don't like what he's doing. Some people think it's funny, of course, but other people think it's obnoxious and stupid. And he's also faced some criminal charges. So, Dimitri, I know you heard about this guy. What do you think about the current climate on TikTokers and influencers? How do you think about people pushing the boundary for the sake of views and content?
I think this guy is the absolute epitome of an idiot. Okay. Now, I do remember catching wind about this the first time, and I remember his explanation for it was basically you need to do things like this in order to get attention and to make it as a content creator, media person, however it is you want to call it. And my thing is this: we've seen what happens to people like that over time. Yeah, you might get the attention now, but it's not going to pay off in the long run. For example, you remember Boot Gang? What was his name? Whole lot of gang shit that he
Yeah.
used to say. And he used to go to barbershops, sit in the chair, get a whole haircut, and then run off on camera. Go into McDonald's, order a whole bunch of food, take the food, run off on camera. And it's gotten him into a whole bunch of unnecessary trouble that, again, it's like, what does he have to show for all of that stuff now today? Nothing. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's like a contractor, like putting tiles in people's houses, which is fine, But for me, I draw the line at running into somebody's house. All right. The video that I saw, the guy was like kind enough to just say, hey, you know what? Can you please get out? You know what I'm saying? But if that was me, if I have kids in my house, if I have my wife in my house or my girlfriend or whatever, my assumption is if I don't know you and you're walking into my house unannounced, that means you mean me, my kids, and my woman harm. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm either going to kill you or you're going to be seriously injured. And then I'm going to perform a citizen's arrest for the cops to come and get you. So in a nutshell, these people who do stupid things, idiotic court jester things, just to get attention and to get people to know them, they get no type of respect from me in the grand scheme of things. What solicits my respect is being creative, doing something artistic that warrants respect. You see what I'm saying? It takes nothing just to disrespect somebody and then cut a camera on and say, hey, look at me disrespecting this person. So if this Mizzy guy, ends up in jail, that's where he belongs.
There's so many things tied to this. So many cases I've been following. We've been on social media for a while. I follow, like I said, I love pranks. I love the horror stuff. This one guy, Bushman. All he does, he has like this. He's famous for, I think it was a Texas Bushman. So he goes to certain states and he dresses up like a plant and he sits on the sidewalk and he just scares people. It's fun. It's lighthearted. He gets millions of views doing that. Nobody gets harmed. But the problem is now we have and I think Mizzy pointed out is this chase and adrenaline thing. And I think social media has caused more harm than good for a lot of these kids because Mizzy's 18 years old, right? And I would say this: when I was 18, which was not that long ago, I remember up and down the streets in New York with my buddies acting like an idiot. I used to act like an idiot. Now that I run into people's houses and antagonize people, no. But I used to do dig down ditch when you knock on somebody's door and run. We used to, act like idiots in the street, perform on the train, act like knuckleheads. But what people are doing nowadays is just absolutely ridiculous. And it's got to the point where I do think there is a conversation, especially for these young kids. Because I remember there was this kid, I don't know who he was, but he was another TikToker. He got famous. And he been on Dr. Phil because This kid was about 16 years old, and he was doing these dangerous stunts where he would rent. I think at this point he was making a lot of money doing his content. So what he was doing now was he was renting Hellcats, which is like a Dodge Challenger model, and it's like a high performing race, not race car, but you can use it for racing. And he would drive these cars around his neighborhood blindfolded for views. And I mean, the fact that was he was putting people in risk. He's blindfolded, and he don't realize a little kid could have been in the street. He's just acting like an idiot. He was doing other dangerous stuff too. And the problem I thought about this was his parents was on the show with him, and they saw nothing wrong with it. They thought it was funny, and you know why? And it's something we talked about before. With child actors, because the parents are reaping the rewards of the kids doing this stuff. They're getting paid. Their children are paying their mortgages, buying them cars, and they can live a nice, lavish lifestyle because they're children. And they're just letting these children do whatever they want on the street. Now, with Mizzy, uh, he was talking about his family dynamic. He don't have a great relationship with his mother, and how some people tell him to stop doing it, but he continues doing it. But people make money off of him too. So why stop, right? But the side part about him, so after the Piers Morgan interview, he actually got locked up again. So before the interview, he was already put in jail, fined. All right, we'll let you go. But then he got arrested again. I think now he's sitting in jail because he did another stupid stunt. I think he was jumping over people, antagonizing people. And that's the dangerous part about what's going on. And I have another question for you, but let me mention another example. So this channel I've been following since high school, Top Notch Idiots YouTube channel. Check them out. Now they do funny content. I love them. They're pretty fun. Group of 3 guys who go around and just do creative videos. But the problem they're doing it is that their videos are, as a viewer, it's funny, but for the people he's doing it with, they don't play. So last night I was watching one of the videos, and these guys do this thing called going into the most dangerous hoods pranks. And that's not simple, trying to get to know these people. They're saying phrases and words that they know would trigger people in these type of areas. I grew up in the projects. I know exactly how people react to these things. So in this video, they was doing the thing called do you want to catch a fade? Now the average person may just look at them stupid. But when you go out in the projects, a dangerous area flooded with gangs and criminal activity, and you're telling people you want to catch a fade, the first thing they think of is, you trying to hurt me? You trying to do something? And the way how these dudes do it, they keep their hands in their pocket because obviously they're using clippers. Usually it's just a way for them to promote a sponsorship. But they'll have their hand in their pocket or a book bag talking about you want to catch a fade. And a lot of these dudes are pulling out guns on them, on camera. And, you can see it on YouTube. Like these people aren't playing. One part of the video, he almost got shot. And the dude was like, yo, you better move. I will shoot you. And like, that's the part of the stuff I'm talking about. So let me ask you, Dimitri, because this is a conversation. Who do you blame? Because that's a thing Piers Morgan, a lot of people are talking about now. Who do you blame? Do you blame the criminal justice system for not handling it? Do you blame these social media apps for not controlling the behavior, especially of young adults? Or do you blame the parents for allowing these children or teenagers to continue doing this stuff with no repercussions?
Well, allow me to backtrack real quick. And I just wanted to just kind of wrap up on the whole Mizzy thing. See, he was able to walk into somebody's house and then get out scot-free. Just a couple of months ago, Ralph Yarl, the 16-year-old kid who knocked on the wrong door looking for his 2 siblings to pick up, and he got shot. Okay, so that just goes to show that this is an issue here. Okay, so you got one kid that's just doing it, and obviously this is not in America, but it applies. You get what I'm saying? And then it almost makes the plight of Black people in this country look a whole lot worse. Now, who do I blame? A YouTube channel like Top Notch Idiots, in this case scenario, because as you were talking, I looked them up. These guys got almost 4 million or 3.5 million subscribers. And then each of their videos literally averages at least 1 million views. I'm seeing 1 million, 2.3, 3.3, 1.3. So I blame the people who actually entertain these guys, because somebody is only as funny when you're laughing. If nobody's laughing or paying you any mind, they're going to stop. You think if these guys were getting 50 views, 10, 20 views, you think they would still be doing, this nonsense? They wouldn't be doing it. So the reason why Mizzy doesn't stop is because he's got an audience now that are telling him, dude, your videos are so funny. I love your videos. Let me watch them. So he's like, well, hey, people, hundreds of thousands of people want to see me do this. I'm going to keep doing it. So yes, I can blame him, but I can also blame the audience who are feeding him the attention because they are just as culpable. Now, I'm not criticizing you, but I'm saying you said you love these guys. From what I can see based on the thumbnails, these are just a bunch of white boys who are trying to monetize minorities in bad communities, in bad neighborhoods. And to me, that's almost racist. Oh, let me go to this community with my camera on and antagonize these people. And then when they try to get violent with me, let me make sure it's recorded to try to make these people look like Neanderthals and violent barbarians. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame the government because that's not their responsibility to be parenting people. All they can do is police people. If you keep doing something, their job is to put you in jail if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Parents, yes, they are to blame, but once you get old enough, it's only but so much you can put it on the parents. Really, once you're over 18 years old, you can't really blame them for what you're doing because technically, legally, you are grown. And at that point, you have a developed mind of your own where you can make your own decisions. And you should, at 18 years old, have a good perception of right and wrong. So you blame those particular people who are doing it, the creators and the consumers. To me, it's 50-50. There, or I would say like 65-35. 65 on the creator and then the 35% on the consumers. Because if they weren't consuming, they're not going to keep creating. They're not going to keep creating the content to be consumed. That's why Mizzy keeps doing it. Because he might get out of jail and then he was looking at his phone and then he sees 10,000 notifications. Like, yo, bro, man, I love your videos, man. I can't wait for your next one. Because that's how it is. I make videos, not like that, but I know what it's like for people to say, I want more of what you're putting out there. So that's why. So this is a question that the people who like this type of content need to ask themselves. Now, yes, do I think prank videos are funny? Yeah. All right. Like the harmless ones. Like there's a video. I don't even know the name of the YouTube channel, but I remember there was a time where I was watching like a bunch of the videos back to back and they will go into Walmart and one guy has like this giant teddy bear freaking costume on. So then he sits in the giant container of teddy bears and he takes like a little rubber ball and he throws it at people's heads.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah. Funny,
that to me is funny because even the people that are subject are let's say the butt of his jokes or the on the receiving end of his prank, they even see the humor in it. That to me is funny because it makes it even more funny knowing that when they find out who's actually throwing it at them, and then they can laugh too. To me, that's funny. If everybody thinks it's funny, I'm okay in laughing. But if you are laughing and creating a joke at someone else's expense, especially when it can become violent, to me, that's not funny. And I don't cater to that because that's the same thing as people eating Tide Pods a couple of years ago because people on TikTok wanted to see them do the shit because they were doing TikTok challenges and stuff like that, inhaling spray paint and all the other types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if people aren't asking you to do it, you're not going to do it. You got 10,000 people telling you to do it, you're going to do it. So that's the question that I pose to listeners. Do you watch and consume Neanderthal freaking content and stuff like that? And then when you find out that this person is in jail, you are partly responsible for that because you told them to do it.
And let me address something that you mentioned about the guys that are painting these people as bad people. I agree. And the reason why I say I'm a big fan is, top-notch idiots, first of all, they're not teenagers no more. These guys are about our age. So they've been doing that content for many years now. When they first started, they were great. I haven't really watched them until like 2 days ago. I stopped watching them for a while. But what they're doing now, like there was this one channel, this one kid. He's a nice kid, but he's another one that do these hood pranks where he goes in the hood on these dangerous areas and they'll label, these videos going to the most dangerous hoods. And this kid was throwing up. Now, he was, in his mind, it was innocent hand signals. But he's going to these areas that obviously had gang activity, and he's going up to people who had, swastikas, tattoos, dudes with ski masks on, and all that stuff, shooting dice, whatever. And he was throwing up little hand signs. And they're like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this not the place to be. You need to get up out of here. And instead of just leaving a situation or just ending it, they push it too far. They let it drag on for a couple of minutes for views. And then what happens is, now these guys, I remember one particular, he did a part two. So this guy, he's got a couple of people confronted him, try to fight him, and he ran off. He did a part two with the same people. So I'm guessing the same day he just went back and antagonized the same people. And I remember there's one guy, this white guy, in the video. He was working the first time. Obviously, he was a gang member, but he was working at the time. He was security. And this time he was in regular clothes. And he's like, yo, man, I know you did this for YouTube. You had me looking crazy last time. I didn't appreciate that, man. Get up out of here. Like, I'm not on this type of time. I don't really care about this stuff. And he's still doing the same thing, antagonize him. And I see people in the comments saying, oh, he a criminal, he a gangbanger. These people need to be locked up. But I'm like, look, whether I don't know what they do in their personal life, maybe they deserve it. But in these instances, these guys are just minding their business, not bothering nobody, and you're antagonizing them for views. But the problem is now you're making them look like these animals that just want to hurt kids or hurt teenagers, hurt content creators. When you're antagonizing them, like it's like me going to a KKK rally, antagonizing the KKK members for views, and then get mad when they want to hurt me. Like that's the part that I don't like, is when you're directly antagonizing people for your own benefit. Now, I also want to address something too. I don't know if you heard about this story, but there was an 18-year-old kid. I don't know if you heard about the kid that jumped off the cruise ship.
Nah.
So Cameron Robbins, he just graduated high school, and he went on a Bahama cruise with a couple of his high school buddies. And they was on this cruise ship, another TikTok video, and it was pitch black late at night. I don't know what time it was, but it was definitely probably close to midnight at this point. They're on the deck, and they double dare this kid, to jump off the cruise ship. Now, I'm not talking about no sailboat where you can just climb back in. We're talking about a cruise ship, that holds thousands of people. So they dare him. And for TikTok, of course, he succumbed to the peer pressure. I'm not going to criticize the man. I saw some celebrities criticizing him. I'm not going to do that. But he jumps off the cruise ship. He jumps off the cruise ship, and he hasn't been found since. This happened, I think, May 26th.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You would think, I'm sorry, like, I'm just gonna let you finish your thought, but you would think, because these kids are the notion that kids of this more recent generation are smarter, clearly is not the case. Clearly it's not the case. You would think that these Gen Zs and whatever they call the generation now, they're smart. These niggas dumb. I'm sorry. Okay. Now I would actually like you to tell me why you would not criticize this kid, because there's nobody to blame but himself. Okay. Because literally, at the minute he decided to jump off that damn cruise, he literally just said that his life was not worth living anymore. And if I was his father, I would be very disappointed that I raised you, because he looks like a nice kid. I just Googled him. He just graduated, like, from prom, all of this stuff, whatever. And then we raised you all of that for you to go out like that with sharks in the goddamn water. Come on, bro. Did they even find him? Like,
no, they suspended the search after a week.
Yeah. So they never found him. So meanwhile, his remains is probably either in the bottom of the goddamn ocean or in his shark's stomach or something like that. Okay? See, stuff. This is what I'm saying. Like, you have to ask yourself these critical questions. Just because people are asking you to do something dumb does not mean you have to do it. Because none of those people that were asking him to jump off that goddamn cruise would have jumped off they themselves. These people who are saying, Mizzy, run into this house because it's so funny. A lot of these people wouldn't do that themselves because they have common sense. This is court jester nonsense. Like, literally, it's like, what did you go to school for? Like, did you not know that if you jump off a cruise, you're going to die? Like, come on, like, if he was even alive when he hit the water. I've been on a cruise once in my life before. It was a big ass cruise, and the human body is not built to freaking withstand that type of trauma when you hit the water after falling freaking 10 stories down, however big, cruises are. So no, I'm not gonna say, oh, rest in peace, man. Oh, I feel so bad. I honestly, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for stuff like that. I do not feel bad for that. I don't. Oh yeah, because 30 niggas are telling me, yeah, jump off this freaking cruise, so I'm gonna jump off into shark infested waters. You wasn't getting paid for that. You weren't getting paid for that. It's not like they said do this for $10 million, $1 billion. Then yeah, I know a lot of people will probably jump off a cruise for $1 billion. You jumped off for free. And how old was he? 18 years
18,
old.
Yep.
18 years old. You went to school. You graduated high school for 4 years. In that 4 years, did you not learn any sort of like deductive reasoning, if that makes sense? Like, did you not come to the conclusion of, if I do this, I'm going to die, or my life is not going to be the same if I even make it through this? Like, I'm pretty sure and most people that say that a lot, like people who commit suicide and stuff, usually like the people that survive, they always say that as soon as they jumped off, they instantly regret it. Like, and I don't have, like, let's say Will and like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are not my parents. Denzel Washington and freaking Loretta Washington, or Pauletta Washington, they're not my parents. I didn't have to have the best parents to have common sense. There's certain things that you just don't do. So I blame this dude on it. But you see what I said earlier, that it's a dual thing that's going on here. Because if nobody asked that kid to jump off, if nobody asked Cameron Robbins to jump off that cruise, he wouldn't have done it. He would not have done it. If people say, you know what, Mizzy's lame, he's not cool, everybody stop watching his videos, you think he's going to keep doing it? Yeah. This is what I'm saying. The reward is the approval of other people, which is wild to me. Wild. You can't make this stuff up. I'm surprised I didn't even hear about this. You can't make this stuff. This happened today. This is on Fox News. This is Cameron. Oh, it didn't happen today, but this is Cameron Robbins' family seen saying final goodbyes after teen lost at sea. That is devastating. I would ask myself, like, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong with him?
You know what? I'm not, for the parents. I wouldn't. The reason why I'm not coming down on her,
it's not their fault. It's not. That's what I said. You only blame the actual creator, and then you blame the consumer, the people who are asking you to do something, and then the guy or girl that decides to do that something. Because he's 18, just like I said this even before. You know what I'm saying? We even talked about this. You get to 18, you can't put it on your parents no more. It's not really on them. It's on you. You are a high school graduate. That goes to even little kids. They know you jump off a bridge, you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for his dad, man.
Here's why I sympathize with him a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Cameron. Here's why. In my mind, would I have jumped off that? Because apparently this happened at 9 something at night. And, would I have done that? Absolutely not, right? But here's the thing. It's like, when you're 18, you just graduated high school, you're with your buddies. Some people, when they're around their friends and stuff, they act like idiots, right? Men, we tend to do that. I still do that occasionally.
I don't act like that. Okay?
Not like that,
I might crack a couple of jokes, but I'm not acting like that. I'm not gonna lose my sense of reasoning, and my survival instincts are just gonna go out the window just because I'm around my friends. Oh my gosh.
No, but I think for him, and I hear about that, like Boot Gang. I'm gonna get to him in a second because he actually did an interview many years after he went viral about it. But I think for him, he probably thought, okay, I'll jump off. They'll save me, because apparently they threw some buoys or whatever to try to save him from it. So he probably thought, I'm gonna jump off, get put back in, right? But a lot of times, a lot of people don't calculate the risk to reward to these type of things, which is why you go on Instagram, I see people doing outrageous, stupid stuff for views because they don't think about the consequences. Like this one guy, he's known for going into he lives in Florida. He does content creating where he jumps into lakes filled with crocodiles and alligators and tries to, wrestle with them for views. And, it's stuff like that. And like, I think for him, I felt bad for all of them involved because I don't think they intended for him to go missing and eaten up by sharks if he did. But I think the fact that he was around his buddies, he's on vacation, having a good time. He probably think we're gonna have a little fun. And 18 years old, yeah, you should be a little smarter, but we all know how people get when they're on vacation with their buddies, no parental supervision for the first time on your big vacation. You acting like an idiot. And I think for him, I'm not trying to call him an idiot. What he did was idiotic, but I feel bad for him because now he can't. Apparently, he was a star athlete. He was going to go on and compete in college sports, and he can't do that now. It's no different than when I hear about these stories. I remember a couple years ago there was a kid. I hear about these hazing stories. It's a little different, but this kid who just went to, I forgot what school was, Ivy League school, but he was trying to be initiated into one of the fraternities, and he was like 18 years old at the time, and he was a star lacrosse player. I remember it made the news, and they take 2 bottles of vodka in one hand, and we're not talking about little pint size. We're talking about full bottle size of alcohol to his hands, and he thought it was gonna be funny. He downed 1 bottle, and then he made it through the other bottle, and then he passed away because people just let him to rot. I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like in hindsight, we look at it like, yo, man, that was stupid. But for a lot of these young kids, they're not thinking like that. They think, oh, I'm gonna be initiated. I'm about to be popular. I'm about to be my boys. And then look what happens. I think this is the problem that we need to discuss. How do we go about, educating kids about this? But the problem is a lot of parents and a lot of 18-year-olds, a lot of teenagers, yeah, parents need to do a good job, which I'm gonna get to because there are some parents who really need to be straightened out. But social media, a lot of kids,
How to escape the heat if you don't
are not home most of the time. They're at school, they're with their friends, they watching social media, TikTok and all this stuff, and they get obsessed by it. Which I got another question for you. We're going to take a little short break and we'll be right back. So as we come back, we're going to continue this conversation on, this stuff. Let me know if you enjoy this type of thing. But as we get back into it, here's another question I have for you. And you mentioned Boot Gang. I remember him. I don't know if a lot of people remember who's listening, but I remember watching him. And yeah, at first I thought it was funny, but then when he started jumping, I know some of his content he did in New York. I know how hard a lot of those people on the sidewalk who's selling merchandise and stuff work. So when he used to jump on those people's tables, destroying their merchandise, a lot of people, was losing rent money because of him. And I remember he did an interview after all the fame and glory. At this point, I think he started doing rapping and he started, doing, I think he was a contractor at this point. I remember watching an interview. It was kind of buried, but I remember him saying that if I could go back, I'd do it all again because it wasn't sustainable. And a lot of times I was just trying to do it to impress my friends and other people in my circle. And I think that's the issue because he's older than us now. So when he was popular, I think we was, still in middle school, whatever. But he was talking about how, back then, if I would have known what I know now, I wouldn't have done that because it was sustainable. And look what happened. He's been in legal trouble. And he's nobody calls him anymore. Yeah, he still might have a little fan base because of it, but a lot of people don't care about him no more. And he's older now. I think he has a son now. He's like, I wish I never would have done that. And going back to Mizzy, his friend did an interview, and he was like, "Yo, this is why I tell people, the problem with Mizzy's content and any other people who try to be content creators who want to do stuff like that is that it's not sustainable. Meaning, you're always going to try to keep pushing the boundaries as much as you can to get those views because eventually fans are going to demand more. If you're building a profile of content creating of dangerous stunts, at some point you're going to have to keep up an ante or people are like, oh, this dude's corny. So I think that's the issue. Now, here's why I say parents need to be blamed. Now, if you're above 18, I'm not really arguing for that. But when you're 16, and even Mizzy, because he started doing content before he was 18, so he would be qualified too. But a lot of these parents, and I told you about the Dr. Phil one, because that's a prime example of why a lot of kids are doing this, because some parents look at their children as cash cows. This dude, I think he was talking about, he was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So his parents are making, but I think he bought his mother like a Porsche or something. He bought his dad a new Ford Mustang. They're enjoying the fruits of his labor, right? So there's no incentive for them to stop him, because they're like, yo, we could kick back, relax. He paying the mortgage. He buying us all these luxury cars. He's making money. Who are we to tell him to stop, right? And I think that's why, for me, I don't blame TikTok as much as I don't really care about TikTok. But I don't blame them. I don't blame YouTube. But especially for the younger generation, I blame parents, because parents are the ones that allow these kids to go out. Because there's no way parents are not seeing their children's videos. It's just no way. And a lot of these parents are not doing anything about it. They let them do it, or they're enjoying the money that they make. Do you agree with that, or
do I agree with what?
do you think that for kids under 18, Mizzy included, because Mizzy started doing these contents when he was under 18. Do you think parents need to be held responsible? Because I know in the UK, Piers Morgan was talking about it, where a lot of other countries are penalizing the parents.
Well, you should, yeah. If your kid is technically a minor, then yeah, they should be under your thumb to a point where they can't be all out. They don't have the liberty to be out in society doing idiotic things. I think, yeah, again, like super liberal parents should really, like freaking tighten the noose or something. You know what I'm saying? Or shorten the leash on what you can and can't do. When I was younger, I didn't really have the liberty to kind of be all out and about and do things until I was, 17, years old, when I showed that I was capable of handling those, that freedom and those liberties and stuff like that. But if my parents, or really particularly my father, had any inkling that I was going to be out in the streets acting a fool, then I wouldn't have been able to do any of those things that I used to do, like going to parties and driving and doing that sort of thing. Now, obviously, that was a completely different era that it is now, but I think the fundamentals still apply. At the end of the day, the parents should only, share in a decent percentage of the blame. But ultimately, you could have good ass parents and still, be a dumbass. You have that happens a lot. You have two good parents, and then their son is a freaking, mass shooter or racist or whatever. So it really just depends. And I also want to backtrack. So what's his name? Cameron Robbins. He actually did survive the fall, and on camera, it's shown him being taken under by a damn shark. On camera.
I didn't know that part.
On camera, I literally just saw it as you were talking earlier. I was watching. So the person they adjusted the elements of the video, so they put up the brightness, they heightened the saturation, lowered the contrast, did a whole bunch of stuff, so you clearly see a shark. Like, so you see his legs are visible through the water, but then a little while into it, you see a shark literally come up and grab his legs. So he survived because they put like one of those little life raft things, like, those circle things.
Yeah, whatever. I think they're called buoys or something
like that. Yeah, they put it in the water. He was swimming in the opposite direction of what they put in the water to pull him back. Why? Because he saw a shark there. Because he was in shark-infested waters. Ooh. And I also think his friends need to be held accountable for that too. There's no way that these kids should be getting off scot-free. In my government, if I was in charge, that to me is like 3rd or 4th degree murder or whatever. You're an accomplice to murder or manslaughter, whatever it is, whatever the proper legal terminology is, because it is their responsibility. Partially, they share in the fact that he died, because no real friend is going to tell you to jump off of a cruise. Not only jumping off of a cruise is stupid enough, when they told you to jump off in the middle of the Bahamas that has sharks in the goddamn water, they didn't like him that much. I just wanted to throw that out there for people who are listening. So yeah, that kid, he got ate by a shark.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's a horrible way to go out, man. I'm telling you.
Horrible. In the pitch black ocean.
Yeah, you about to go to college. You just graduated high school. You want to cruise, enjoying life, and your life ends because you got ate by a shark, or you were stupid enough to listen to your goddamn friends who pressured you into jumping off the damn freaking cruise into shark-infested waters. And that was the end of his story, unfortunately. I feel very sorry for his parents. I'm speaking harshly, but hey, that's just what it is. Because if I did some stupid ass shit like that, my parents would say the same thing about me. So And I'm black, so I guess the culture is different.
Yeah, people clown me all the time for saying I don't want to go in the ocean. That's exactly why I'll pass. I ain't doing no water skiing, no nothing. I've been on a speedboat before. That's the farthest I'll probably go. But and this is another issue. It's attention seeking it's attention seeking become out of hand. Back then, before TikTok and all this stuff, people used to do stupid stuff, right? But it wasn't as popular as it is now. And part of the reason I blame is not just parents, because parents can't be the end all be all to all this.
You
But I
can't,
also
you can't use them as a scapegoat. They're not a
Right.
scapegoat.
I only use parents for minors, like 15, 14, 13. The kids that actually aware enough that starting to create content on these platforms is usually with TikTok and all this stuff. They're starting really young. So that's why I'm saying the parents are to be blamed for that. And I know I was mentioned too, like the UK and some other countries in Europe, they're actually holding parents liable for this stuff, because it's like, yo, there's no way you don't know your children out here doing these type of videos. We're harassing. And the thing is, it's also protecting the children too. Because if you think about a lot of these kids, like I said, these videos going to the hood and stuff like that, I watch videos of these, teenagers do these hood videos, right? And when they start going left after a couple of minutes, they like, yo, this for YouTube. The problem is a lot of people don't care about YouTube. They don't care about content creating. That's not their thing. So they just like, yo, you pissed me off. I told you to leave me alone. You antagonized me. Now I gotta handle you because you approached me. I didn't approach you. And that is the problem. Attention seeking. And I also blame not just social media, but these social media these highlight pages like World Star and all, because they reward these people for, when I see a lot of these Instagram and TikTok pages that help put people's name out there, a lot of times they're only posting the real outrageous, crazy, stupid stuff. And I think that's the issue, is the attention seeking. Do you think it's attention seeking is getting out of hand nowadays with content creating?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're in a society now where, there's like a great, especially on the internet, there's a great deal of value that is placed on the amount of attention that you're getting. Whether it's like the likes, the retweets, the views, the comments, that is like priceless currency on the internet. And it's like the more attention that you're getting, the more validated that you feel. Now, for me personally, attention is not bad if you're getting the attention for good things. When people look at what you're doing and it has some integrity, some morals, like it's just creative, artistic, whatever. Getting attention for the right reasons is fine, right? But getting attention seeking for the wrong reasons or using like terrible means to get attention, that I don't agree with. And that usually always gets you into trouble in some way, shape, or form. So yes, I do think it's an issue and it's getting out of hand. I mean, it's been out of hand, and I mean, now the way that these apps are like really like developed and like built, it's catering to that now. Like Instagram is like TikTok now. Instagram is like they all function the same way. It's like back in the day, you only had like 5 seconds on Vine to do stuff. 7 seconds on Vine. Instagram was only for pictures and videos, if that. And I remember there was a point where you couldn't even post videos on Instagram. At least I don't think so. So pictures and quick clips, but it wasn't situated where it's like things are meant to go viral now. There's an algorithm to go viral because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to have millions of views and millions of comments and get that validation, because ultimately that's what they want, is to feel validated in it. Because what Cameron Robbins wanted for doing something like that, so let's say he survived, he would have gotten the illest pat on the back from his boys. The fact that he jumped off the goddamn cruise, he jumped into shark-infested waters and survived. That's what he wanted. He wanted that pat on the back. You know what I want? A pat on the back knowing that 30 people can ask me to do something and I don't have to do it. That's the pat on the back. I don't have to do stuff just for attention, because I'm not an attention seeker. I will do things Attention is a byproduct, but I'm not going out of my way to solicit attention from people. So I'm one of that rare, like circumstances or rare people where, yes, I am a content creator, right? But my goal is to do stuff that I like. And if people happen to like it too, great. But I'm not looking for attention. It's like I don't make quick takes because I want to get attention. I don't make videos because I want to get attention. I make videos that I want to watch, that I want to listen to, that I want to see. And if people happen to like it, great. But yeah, it is an issue because the younger kids that are coming into this generation now, this is their culture. This is what they know. See, we come from a time where it was a mixture of both, but we lived enough life without the internet is to where the internet does not dictate the way that we perceive life and the way that we deal with people on a social level. So it's not an issue for us, or at least most of us, or at least the same, freaking millennials and stuff like that. But younger kids now, oh my gosh, you forget about it.
No, you 100% right. And the algorithm, like you said, is set up for people to go viral. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I love a lot of these contents. I think it's funny, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm watching little kids, 12 years old, go viral for, saying the N-word and doing all this stuff. And it's like, who the problem is people are pushing the envelope, but it's society, social media has made it that way. That's why it's hard for me to be upset with the Camerons of the world, the Mizzys of the world, because they're growing up in an environment now where a lot of their friends are doing content creating, so they want to naturally get into it. And now they're seeing the type of stuff that goes viral. They're like, why don't I do that? But the problem is, and this is like Mr. Boo Gang said, it's like, it's not sustainable because when does it end? You starting off these videos, you starting off creating content where, you adrenaline junkie, you jump into crocodile infested waters and you're surviving, and now you're thinking, oh, people love this, I gotta push the button more. And that's the thing. It's like, it's hard. Viewers are to blame, but I also think content creators need to take some blame too, because ultimately you are in control of the stuff you put out. It's like this podcast, right? I can turn this into a New York theme. I speak my true mind and push out my most extreme beliefs, right? And yeah, people might like it and stuff like that, but ultimately I'm projecting, I'm creating the content. So for me, I look at it like I control what I put out. And a lot of these content creators, under 18, I get it. They're not thinking that far ahead. They're just thinking about the views, the clicks, and the likes. But even for people our age, they look at it like, yo, I'm trying to go viral. I got 100 followers. If I could get 7,000 overnight, let me push the envelope. And that's the problem with social media. It's made people, especially with TikTok, because the problem is, it's not so much social media, it's how short the clips are now. So TikTok I think is under 10 seconds. So you got 10 seconds to impress people. You could do a boring, I'm not saying my podcast is boring. Absolutely not. I'm the most charismatic man. But you could do a podcast, TikTok. You might get some followers, but in 10 seconds, can you really captivate somebody with a podcast? Or can you captivate somebody by running in the middle of the traffic in broad daylight, running across the highways, jumping off of cruise ships, jumping over strangers, running into people's houses? See, this is why. It's because people's attention span is shorter now too. So, the days of Vines and YouTube where, a 15-minute video was the norm. Now people don't want to watch that. You got 30 seconds to impress me, I'm clicking off. Now with TikTok, you got 10 seconds less. So how do I captivate people's attention that quick? Let me do some stupid, outrageous things. So, but I have one more question for you. And this goes to Mr. Mizzy, because he's getting, like I said, he's now on his second court appearance. The first time he was fined, I think, the equivalent, because this is UK, so I think he was fined equivalent to $300 in charge for like criminal mischief or whatever it's called. But now it's going to get to the point where a lot of, like I said, a lot of other countries are penalizing content creators for antagonizing on unconsented people, meaning if you're running into people's houses, if you're jumping over people who you didn't get consent from, if you're snatching people's dogs in public, if you're, Mr. Boot Gang, jumping on people's property and destroying their stuff, a lot of people are getting charged for that. So do you think that the only way to really solve this, especially for people above 18, is for the court system to actually start charging people for public menacing.
The court system charges people for a lot of dumb shit. People still do dumb things anyway. Like, really, at the end of the day, it's just, oh man, like, Mizzy has had his fair share of run-ins with the law. Boom Gang, same thing. All right. Laws being in place doesn't always deter people. It deters sane people, intelligent people, or smart people with common sense to not freaking commit crimes. Others not so freaking much. So I don't think that the government has to do any more than what they're doing as far as that's the case, because in my opinion, the government has better things to do, like black legislation. So no, I don't think so.
See, here's the reason why I asked that, and this is why a lot of people are advocating it. It's like what you mentioned too, right? A lot of these content creators, these hood videos, and when you go into dangerous neighborhoods, right? You're making these people look bad, right? So for Mizzy, for instance, right? We already seen, cops are killing black people and all this stuff. We've seen this stuff, right? So this was a white family, right? Now, what if the husband shot Mizzy and killed him in his house? This would be a completely I don't know if I would be, but the narrative would have been different. Another white man killed the black man. But here's the thing. People need to realize, just because you tell people, oh, this is for TikTok, for YouTube, it doesn't change the fact what you're doing is antagonizing people. And a lot of people don't really care. A lot of people have lives. You're intruding my personal space. You're in my house. I don't even know you. And that's the thing. It's like, yeah, and I think the reason a lot of people are pushing courts to get involved, it's like, yeah, it's a slap on the wrist though. Because for Mizzy, $300 for him, if he's getting, $5,000.
He only got $300.
Yeah, and the fine
as a fine for running into this man's house.
Yeah, and
you see, hold up. See, you know what I would do? What I would implore the governments to do. Now, obviously, this happened in the UK, but I know down south, this wouldn't even really be a question. But let's say if I'm in New York and I have property, and some Mizzy looking kid, funny looking motherfucker walks into my house with his camera on and stuff like that. I think the state laws should, if they haven't already, which I don't think so in the Northeast, but they should change, is to where I can kill him if he does some shit like that, or I can mortally wound him, so that will never happen again. So they should situate it in a way where I will, do whatever I need to do with this guy, so that way I don't have to suffer any, legal ramifications of putting his ass down. Because I will agree in that instance, because I thought that Mizzy must have gotten, a worse penalty than that. But $300, he's going to do it again. He'll be right back at somebody else's house tomorrow. But even excessive fines, well, yeah, obviously, if they raise the stakes, I think maybe that will probably help, because, now everybody has a $5,000, which I think should be like 5 or 10 stacks that you got to pay for essentially breaking and entering. As far as I'm concerned, that should be like a serious, misdemeanor or something like that. And also, so not only do you have to worry about paying 4 or 5 figures, and I'll say 5 figures, you are not protected under my roof because you don't live here. So therefore, if I bash your face in with a baseball bat, or if I shoot you, all bets are off the minute you walked onto my property. And I know down south in Texas, yeah, you can't do that because you'll die. In the Northeast, people can probably get away with stupid shit like that. In the UK, they must be very liberal as far as breaking and entering is concerned. But me, you got to pay $10,000 minimum. Then you got to face jail time. And then on top of that, you run the risk of death upon entry onto another man's property. Because let's say if I had like 2 daughters or some shit, and then my girlfriend is in the kitchen making food, and then you walk into my house, and then you think it's funny, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Because to me, that is on the upper echelon of disrespect from a male to another male. That is ultimate disrespect. I work for my house. For me to put a roof over my head, my kid's head, my woman's head, we all live here happily. And then you walk in and you said that my house was a joke, you're dead. You are dead. You are finished. If I was in Texas, I'm blowing your motherfucking head off. And I'm not gonna feel bad about it either. I would not feel bad about it. Especially if you're over 18. If you're like you're in your 20s or something, I know you knew way better. You know better. So if you choose not to do better, you will suffer the consequences for that. See, a little kid, Ralph Yarl, young black kid, 16 years old, all he did was knock on that guy's door. Just say, oh, are my sisters? I'm here to pick up my sisters. He got shot. I didn't even think the white man even opened the door. He probably looked at the people, saw a black kid, shot him. That kid did not deserve to see little things like that. That is okay. Because I didn't mean to knock on your door. I didn't mean to come onto your property, uninvited, unannounced, all of that stuff. Him shooting him was not warranted because that kid did not pose a threat to him because he was not trying to, get into his house. All he did was knock on the door. Mizzy walked into another man's house, and that would not have been racism at all if that white man decided to shoot him. That would not be racism at all. I don't care what, and I'm as pro-black as they come. That would not have been racism at all. That man is protecting his property that you walked into. Because I would not feel comfortable walking into a stranger's house. I don't know who they are. I don't know what he's got. I'm smart. I'm not doing that. I have way better survival instincts than that. So yeah, the government, they need to up the ante on that. Because instead of paying $300, you should pay $30,000. Especially if you're a repeat offender. Because me, I'm going to protect my house, the animals I got in there, my kids, and my girlfriend. If you're a guy and you walk into my house and I don't know you, if my door was open and you walked in, all bets are off at that point. You are done. No talking.
Yeah. This conversation, it made me think. I remember this guy went viral, and not for a good thing. There was a content creator on YouTube and TikTok where he was doing videos walking up to random women on the street. Usually they was by themselves. And he'd come up to them, get close, entering their personal space, talking about, do you want to die? And he got his cameraman there. He think it's funny, but it's like, yo, you approaching random people on the street talking about you want to die, and you reaching in your pocket. And that's the problem. It's like you said, from that video I was talking about earlier, with a white guy, he was in the gang. He showing him the tattoos, and this is not what we do all around here. Go, but his message before he even started trying to attack the dude, he said, "Yo, man, I already saw your video on YouTube. You had me looking crazy. I read the comments, people, talking down on me. I didn't do nothing to you. Why you bother me? Yo, get out of here. Leave me alone." And this dude keep bothering, and that's the thing. It's like, people push the envelope too much. And this is why I'm saying the government needs to get involved. Because like I said, this guy was trying to educate the dude. He was like, yo, I know you just trying to get views, but yo, you have me looking crazy. And now with the FBI and cops using social media against people, how many of those dudes probably pulled a gun on this man? And if he decides to press charges, they get locked up. And they was just minding their business. Now, a whole another conversation, having illegal guns is one thing, but again, you're going at the people in their cars in the street by themselves, not bothering you. People got on headphones. You got on a ski mask talking about you want to get faded. You want to catch a fade. I don't know you. You reaching in your pocket.
Idiots thing.
Yeah, I like those guys. I
don't know why you like them, because they would do the same thing to you because you black. And then if you just happen to be on that neighborhood, they would think that you're some sort of thug, gangster Neanderthal. And what do you call that? That's racial profiling. It could have just been you. You don't have to have a whole bunch of tattoos and stuff like that for them to just run up on you and try to make a joke out of you because you're black. That's what I'm saying. Like, me personally, y'all need to revoke your support of these channels, because this is not, like, I would say, like, all right, I'll use my channel, my YouTube channel, for instance. Y'all check it out. Right? My YouTube channel, I would say, honestly, errs on the side of edutainment. You see what I'm saying? You could come to my channel and you could learn something, whether it's about music, it's about current events, politics, blackness, and then you could also be entertained, whether it's my reactions, that sort of thing. I have a constructive channel. You don't think I could get more views talking about other people, you know what I'm saying, in a negative way, freaking harping on drama and stuff like that? I could easily do that. But do I? No, because then that would mean my channel no longer has the integrity that it's always had since I started it. yes, I have strong opinions and stuff like that, but the way that I articulate my opinions is a way where you can still take something from what I'm saying. So it's not like, oh, all he's doing is talking trash about this person. No, everything I said about Mizzy is the result of mature thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a takeaway from what I'm saying. These people, top-notch idiots, it's literally like low vibrational content. Like, it's literally appealing to like people's base instincts, like their lowest instincts. You know, like it's almost like the Coliseum and gladiators and stuff like that. The only reason why everybody would be gathering around to watch somebody get eaten by a lion is because they were glad it wasn't them. Everything is always funny until you are the butt of the joke. That's why I would never watch stuff like that, because I don't think I wouldn't want it to be me. This is why I said there's a difference between them and then that other channel where he's just throwing, you know, like teddy bears at people in Walmart. They thought it was funny. Cool. But these black guys, I'm pretty sure, which I wouldn't, but let's say if I did go on their channel, watch their videos, a lot of these guys, they don't think it's funny. And they're not the only ones who make this sort of idiotic content. There's like this other guy where he used to go in like black neighborhoods, you know, like Harlem and the projects and stuff. And then he would literally walk up to people and take their phones and try to run away with it. And then make black people look like these violent people just because they're trying to get back their own personal property. I mean, it was like this tall black dude, probably around my height. He literally took the dude, put him in a headlock, and then took him down. Like, I don't even know what that move was. He took him down. Is he the bad guy for that? These sorts of contents are literally detrimental to black people. This is what they are doing. They're saying, hey, look at them. They feed into the stereotypes. This is who they are. They would never walk into, you know, perhaps a Howard University and do the same thing. Right. This is what I'm saying. The consumers have to be, you know, held accountable for that. It is not healthy content. You see what I'm saying? It's like we all know McDonald's is not healthy food, but McDonald's will continue to exist as long as there's a market for people who want what they're serving. So yeah, we shouldn't eat fast food, but guess what? There's a whole lot of people eating it. So as long as those people are there to eat it, there will always be a McDonald's. There will always be unhealthy, you know what I'm saying, producers who are producing unhealthy things for us to consume. So you really got to ask yourself, why do I really love these people? What is it about this content that makes me say, you know, to people that I love these guys? Really, especially you as a black man, you really got to think about that, because would you want to be perceived in that light? Oh, you know, they took my phone, I want to grab them, but now the internet is going to think I'm just this, you know, a violent, you know, black stereotype, a walking black stereotype. Right. No, I'm pretty sure you would rather be seen as, let's say, in the Jubilee videos, where you are a black person with dimensions, with multiple aspects of your character that most people would not even know until they heard you speak. They're not walking up to these people and asking them about their lives and maybe why they live it and perhaps why they resort to violence and stuff in those situations. No, you don't know what these people are going. These people who live in these bad areas, they're already stressed out. And then you got these white guys who are probably making 6 figures a month off their freaking YouTube channel, walking into them and giving them another reason to get stressed out. And then on top of that, now everybody's going to think this person is violent and a bad guy. It's not cool. And these dudes got 3.5 million subs. Yeah. 3.5 million subs, appealing to people's basest instincts. And we really got to look, society got to take a look at themselves, because people will prefer violence and idiotic BS over something that will actually help them. And that's a huge problem. You really got to ask yourself that, bro. Because me, yeah, sure, I like, you know, I watch Power and Snowfall and stuff like that, but which are violent shows, you know what I'm saying, showing us in a violent light with drugs and all that other types of stuff. But I can also recognize that these shows are harmful. But at the same time, I can say, well, we really need to be watching Bel Air. I watch it, but I know the average person is not watching it. So we really need to shift ourselves into a higher consciousness. But obviously that comes with people eating meat and a whole bunch of other stuff. So a lot of people are already walking around in a low vibrational state anyway. So it's like when people are exposing you to these things, you're already gonna, feed into it because you were already in that low state of consciousness anyway. So really, like I said, y'all gotta take a look at yourselves, because it's not the people, it's y'all watching them. I never even knew about these dudes until you told me about them. You know what I'm saying? Because I really mainly only watch my YouTube channel all day. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe like very select people, if that. And then if not, I'm watching a movie or some shit. So I'm always watching myself, but that just goes to show people are really more so going to flock to harmful stuff than helpful stuff.
No, you're right. And let me clarify something too. I said I like them because I've seen the earlier stuff. They used to give. Don't get me wrong; they still do it occasionally, where they'll give people money. They'll do these stupid pranks, and then, hey man, this is a sponsorship. We want to give you, free merchandise or whatever. A lot of people turn up. It's corny, right?
So I'm gonna embarrass you. So to make you feel better about the embarrassment or the prank that I pranked on you, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you some money or some merch. So that's what I'm saying, like a little consolation prize. And I'm not even the jokey dude anyway. So let me be all up in Times Square somewhere in Manhattan, and some just want to pull our camera out, and then I'm on their YouTube channel without my consent. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna be like, yo, my man, what are you doing? What are you doing? But again, there's a demand for that. So if there's demand, there's gonna be a supply.
No, you're right, and that's why I said I'm not a big fan of these hood pranks and all these other stupid
hood
videos,
pranks.
but
Racist.
Yeah, it's
bad.
bad.
Racist, yo. That doesn't even sound right. When people talk about the hood, what are they talking about? They're talking about black people. They're talking about black people. That's what they're talking about. A lot of these dudes that I've seen on that channel, they're all black. They're all black.
Yeah.
Racist people. Mad racist. And it's always funny until they got you on camera. So I'm not even going to support that shit because I wouldn't want to be on there. That is a fact. I would not want somebody saying, oh, yo, especially like I'm walking somewhere, some guy's like, oh, yo, you trying to run the fade? You know me, bro. Like, I box. I would literally chuckle and keep moving, yo. Because I'm like, yo, you really don't want that type of smoke in your life. You really don't. And knowing these guys, they're going to keep going until they get that reaction. That's what they do.
Yeah, they think it's funny. And like, and one of the episodes I watched last night, I remember this older black guy. He was on a bike, and he had a bunch of jewelry on. The dude walked up to him with a ski mask on. He like, how much you pay for that? You want to catch a fade? And he was like, yo, man, look, I don't know who you are, but yo, please leave me alone. This not the neighborhood. Do you know where you at? You don't play like that. And he was trying to educate the man. And like I said, the problem is a lot of the time these videos, yeah, if you want to get the initial reaction, they'll be like, yo, I'm just kidding, it's you too.
I'm just kidding. When they're about to get beat up, I'm just kidding. Oh, this is a prank. It's a prank. Pussy, like just don't do that, period. Just leave people alone. Make better content. That's like RDC World or something. I don't like the guys who make the LeBron James and the NBA skits and stuff. I don't watch them, but do something like that. Like just write a skit or something from scratch. If like, you know what I'm saying? Do stuff that's creative. Don't do something at the expense of somebody else. Like, and I'll say one thing and I'll let you go. But I make video essays, or amongst the many video essays that I make videos about the R&B group New Edition. And I make album retrospective videos that literally details the history of the albums. And I also pay homage to the music, the songwriters and producers that were involved in that, and basically just a whole, retrospective on the album, honoring the album. You don't think I could get way more views if I were talking about the beef between New Edition members? And I've seen channels that literally because they can't copy me because the quality is not there, but pseudo channels just like mine that literally only harp on negativity between these artists that they're talking about. Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Prince, all these other guys. No integrity, no creative integrity. You're just talking about other people's personal life. That's what I'm saying. Certain things are just not worth it to me because I have to look myself in the mirror and say, well, look at my life and say, what kind of life am I living and what perception of myself am I putting out there for people to perceive? These people, they don't have and to me, that's almost kind of like selling your soul to an extent because you're doing things that is wrong, but you just choose to do it anyway because you're getting something out of it. How do you look at yourself in the mirror every day? If let's say when we talked about Brian McKnight or something like that, when I talked about that, I literally talked about that and I was speaking from the aspect of Brian McKnight, myself, and a lot of people who have experienced trauma and disrespect and toxicity from their family members. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I was like, oh, you know, his family is terrible for no reason. No, I gave valid reasons as to why I felt like that. So people can take something from it. So if I'm talking trash, it's trash for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And even then, it's like I always still try to do it in a sense as to where there's an integrity to what I'm saying. So even if they themselves heard it, y'all don't agree, but you can still feel where I'm coming from because it's from the real. It's coming from a real space. These guys, top-notch idiots, their content is not going to mean anything to people 20 years from now. It's not. So they could reap the benefits right now, but it's not going to mean anything to people down the line. It's not meaningful. It doesn't make anyone's life better, in my opinion.
You know, we're back with the top-notch idiots. I'm just kidding. But, you know, our society is becoming very attention seeking. Not everybody, but you know, if you're trying to become a content creator and all this stuff, you know, a lot of people are becoming attention seekers, and the problem is social media has made it that way. The rise of Bad Baby and all these other, you know, famous people who got famous off of viral moments of being disrespectful and doing stupid, ridiculous things. That is the norm, and that's what's being rewarded. And the problem is, you know, these high profile channels that many people watch, whether it's World Star, House of Highlights. Not all of them are bad. A lot of them there's some really good, decent ones. But it's the other ones that are making people like, yo, if I get on this channel, they got 15 million subscribers. Oh, and celebrities follow them. Oh, I need to get on that platform. So let me do the most outrageous, stupidest things. And that's why so many people are doing it. And, you know, and I'm not just here to talk about teenagers, because teenagers going to be teenagers. We weren't teenagers that long ago. But I also see adults, grown women, you know, even grandmas on Instagram and TikTok doing stupid things. This one lady, I don't follow her, but her stuff always pops up. But like this one lady, her channel is basically, she was a teen mother. I think she had her first child when she was like 14 years old. And she's like early 30s. And her content is like sexually charged. And you could clearly tell her children don't want to be involved. She's like advertising herself like living her best life, in a sense, like she's trying to be as cool as her daughter, who's like 18 now. She's trying to act like her, in a sense. They you know, doing stupid stuff. But it's clear like her children don't want to be in front of the camera, but she still does this content. And most of the comments I do see are people like, yo, this is cringy. Yo, your daughter don't want to be a part of this. Oh, this is weird. Like, you're doing stuff like this with your daughter, like, you know. And I wish I could find the channel. I'm sure it'll pop up at some point, so you can check it out. You'll know what I'm talking about. But it's that society, because that lady has like, you know, 300,000 followers, and she's not famous or anything, but she's popular on Instagram. And people will just they're making content that they know will cause a reaction and get people's attention. The Top Notch Idiots and all these other channels and people that do this content, I think, you know, when you create content like that, where you try to push the envelope, there's only one way to go, and it's to continue pushing up. Because the moment you go back down, people are going to lose interest. And I get why they do it, but at the same time, when you set yourself up that way, you know, you're expected to do that. So, you know, I think our society, you know, for a lot of content creators, really create content that's going to be sustainable, something you can do 10 years from now. You're not going to be 22 years old getting away with doing this stuff, because eventually the law is going to catch up to you. And you're going to start getting in trouble for doing some of this stuff. Like Blue Gang, he's been arrested multiple times, milk shots and all. At some point, it's going to catch up to you. And if it doesn't, with the law, your life is you're going to be playing, you know, devil's advocate here, where you're putting your life on the line for some views. And you think, just in a hindsight, for anybody who say, well, it's cool, it's edgy, do you think a lot of these people who lost their lives doing these types of content, do you think people are looking for them now? Do you think people care about them now? No, because the other person, there's a new person now who's the big sheriff in town. So they're looking at their content now. So people, yeah, in the moment, people love it. But, you know, if you lose your life or something happens to you, people aren't going to care, because somebody else is going to be up and coming or popular that they can go to. So
no, it is. The court jester is always disposable.
100%. You know, and, you know, the only reason I mentioned Mizzy is, you know, content creators like him, young kids, teenagers who are doing stuff like that, really listen to his best friend. He was on the Piers Morgan show, and he did a follow-up, because Mizzy disrespected court orders. He got locked up again 2 days later for menacing people on the street again. I think he jumped over somebody on the street again,
He didn't get
and
his
they got
ass
in a
whooped.
fight. So
He
now
he
he's
need
in
he need a
jail.
slice of that humble pie. That's what he need. He need a large humble pie. He need a slice of that humble pie, bro. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like some dude needs to just whoop his ass. And I bet you he won't do that shit anymore. He gonna learn respect because a kid like him, he clearly just never learned respect for other people.
No, and he openly talked about it. He's like, I know nobody. You could tell Piers Morgan. Like when I watched his interview with Piers Morgan, it's clear he's being disrespectful because it's clear somebody's actually sitting down and talking. Now, I'm not saying his mother or whatever hasn't, but clearly it seems like a lot of people aren't sitting him down and really educating him. And a lot of kids are like that. That's why they're creating this content because a lot of people are eating off of them. They're making money off of them. They're enjoying the fruits of their labor, or they just don't have the courage to tell them to stop. And I think that's why it's so. For me, I would much rather the government impose stricter punishments for them because at some point, like you said, when I watch these hood videos, like I said, I've seen videos where people pull out guns and aim it at them, like, "Yo, you keep playing with me, I'm gonna shoot you." And then I remember this one guy he was trying to fight him. I think he had put him in a chokehold. And he's like, "Yo, you're not gonna sue me, are you?" He said, "No, this is a YouTube channel. It's all good." But you could clearly tell he was worried when he found out it was a YouTube channel. He like, "Yo, I don't know you, bro, and no disrespect, but you just came running up on me. And I don't even know you." So again, it's like so many people are doing this type of stuff, and especially on TikTok, it's so easy to create these type of contents, and especially on TikTok because there's more younger kids on there than Instagram. And a lot of kids are going to look at Mizzy and think, "Oh, I want to do stuff like him." But you don't realize how dangerous some people are. People don't care that you're a content creator. Some people don't care that there's a camera. Yo, you in my space, you threatening me. I don't know you. You assaulted me. You put your hands on me. I got to take action now. And people will lose their life doing this stuff like that. And I that's all I caution is if you're going to be a content creator, if you're out there, especially a young content creator, our age, younger, really take the time and think about what type of content you want to put out there. And really think about the long-term aspects. I know we live in a time right now, especially with inflation, everybody's just trying to get a quick dollar and become viral and make money. But at the same time, realize that comes with a price for doing stuff that's very dangerous. So really think about the type of content you want to do. Is this content you want to do in your 30s and 40s? Or is this content you just want to make a quick buck, make as much money as you can, and move on? But really, even if that's the case, just really think about what kind of content you're doing. Because, like I said, when you're putting other people's unconsented, people who are unconsented in your videos, there could be some problems that rise with that. And someone will you F around, you find out somebody will do something to you. So do you got any final words?
I just advise people to, when you look at your life and the things that you do for fun and what you subconsciously find yourself doing, particularly, for the sake of this conversation, the things that you find entertaining, really ask yourself, why do you find this entertaining? When you find yourself watching like low vibrational stuff like fights, like I mean street fights, not boxing, but fights, pranks, freaking, stuff like that, like along those lines, ask yourself why. So when you hear about these people getting into these situations and you watch their videos, just understand that you share in that whole entire thing. You have a part to play in it. As long as there's an audience, there's always going to be a performer.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just keep in mind, real quick, this a YouTuber, Instagram influencer that I've talked to a couple times, and he does stupid videos on Instagram. But what he also does is he posts B-roll, meaning like he'll show the aftermath of his skits where people in public that he's getting argument stuff with. He'll show the aftermath for them, talking, and they're like, "Yo, man, I get it was a prank, ha." But he'll also show the people like, "Yo," who try to educate people who are watching, like, "Yo, you think this is funny, but what if it wasn't me? What if you caught somebody on a bad day, lost their job, probably lost their mother, and you're antagonizing them? It could have been a lot worse for you. So, think about the type of content that you're going to put out. And even if you watch it, like I said, I love pranks and I love watching them. But even for me, there's a line I don't cross when you're putting other people's in harm's way, or you're using other people for your videos, and you're making them the bad guy in your videos too, because some people don't want to be involved in your videos, and if they do, they don't want to be painted as some villainous person. Because, like I said, the cops are watching. People jobs might get a whiff of it, and they're like, "Oh, this is how you act when you off of the clock." So like with that being said, like I said, this podcast, we're trying to have some fun. TikTok, skits, all that content creating. A lot of people are doing it now. Everybody's trying to, get involved with it in some capacity. So this episode is mostly just trying to educate, especially our generation, the younger generation, people who are out here doing those daring contests, the contests that's pushing boundaries. Just be careful. People especially in this world, people, you never know what people are going through or how people will react to your camera on them. So with that being said, keep checking out the podcast. Thank you, everybody, whether you put down a cheeseburger or not, whether you're at work or you're leaving work, you're home with the kids. Thank you for keep watching. Thank you for listening. We got more episodes coming, a lot more great topics coming soon. Enjoy the summer, enjoy this heat. And like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. My man, Dimitri, thank you for coming on, man.
Peace.